Hi, this is Andrew from Vitalise IT. In this video we're going to look at how you can mark student work in Google Forms. So here's my Google form. Because I'm an editor, I have my little pencil at the bottom right hand side. So wherever I pick my form up from, I can go straight into it. I don't need to look in my Google Drive. I can simply click and the form will go into the editing mode. Now you can see on the top I've got 3 responses. So I'm going to click on the responses. And the summary, the insights, will tell me a little bit about the responses at the minute and a little bit about the frequently missed questions and so on. So you already get a little bit of information before you go any further. What we're going to do now is we're going to look at marking these forms. So there are 2 ways you can mark the forms. First of all, you can mark by individual. So if I click on the individual, we can go through and there we can see James, my son, has done this form. Nice thing as well, the first bit of the form is auto marked because it's multiple choice. So straight away I've got some data from James that I don't need to do any marking for. It's telling me that he's fine on all those points apart from this little bit on that when the first mark score was developed, so maybe that's something for him to review. I can add individual feedback on there, so I could put feedback for him which would go to him, and that feedback can link to a link to a website or wherever, or it can link to a video, a YouTube video and so on. So I can give him really effective feedback on that. If I carry on scrolling down, the second set of questions are written questions. This is where the student has to put their own answers in and type the answers in. So we're looking at this one. So the first one, I look at what he's got, and easy to look at living organisms. And even though it doesn't say there that is one of the answers, it's something that I would accept. But what I do as well, as you can see here, I've actually got the mark scheme or the marking advice from the actual exam. So I can straight away compare this to the marking advice. I can do this for each student, and that's nice because I don't sort of sway away from the marking and sort of head off in one direction. It keeps me tightly in line with the marking, and that's under every single question. And I just put that in when I'm actually creating the form. So I can go through and mark it. So if he's right, I can put the mark on there. And for each one I actually change, I've just got to save it. I can go through and save them and change them first of all, then save them afterwards. There's no problem with that. So there we are, he's got these marks, so that's fine. And then once I've done that, I can then move on to the next student. So that's one way of doing it. Now the problem with this, of course, if you have quite a long assignment on there, quite a long assessment, then quite often, if it's a paper one, you'd mark paper question 1 for everybody, then question 2 for everybody, because it will keep you focused on the question rather than having to jump around. Now obviously in this format you can't do that, but what's really useful is I can mark question by question, and in this the form will actually chop up the students' answers and they will give me the answers for everybody on a particular question. So if I jump to the later written questions, I can see for each student, this is what one student's written, this is what another student's written, this is what another student's written. Again, the mark scheme is underneath, or the advisory marking is underneath, and all I have to do then is just put a tick for the students to mark them, or obviously a cross if not. If there was multiple numbers for this, then it will give me the option of how many I wanted for it. So I'm just going to save this, because then we can just move on to the next question, and it'll do that for every question. Just find one with more than 1 mark, and if there is one, there we are, 3 marker. So again, if it was completely right, the answer, and obviously none of these are right at the minute, James got some of this right, but he didn't show his working. What can I say? Show your working, students. I could have given him more marks from that, but if the answer is completely right, I can give it the full tick, or I can knock it down from there if it's partially right. Once I've saved then and gone through all the questions, then I can just, if the students have given me their email, then I can then send it back to the students for the responses to go back to them, and the students will again see what they've written, and also if you pop into a students one, students will see what they've written and also what the mark scheme is when it comes back to them, because that mark scheme will go to them, so they can then compare what they actually said compared to the mark scheme, compared to my feedback as well. It is very, very effective, and for this assessments that would take me an evening to mark, maybe 2 or 3 hours, I could get marked within 10-15 minutes. Okay, so it works really, really well, and effective, very quick feedback to the students as well. I hope that was useful. Thank you very much for watching.